Oh my God. Every time I go live, it's like a freak show. All right. So I was trying, sorry, I was trying out Restreams. I'm having problems with my Zoom and it will not connect to my Facebook page. Long story. Anyway, having problems with my Restream. So it took me a minute. All right. I'm going to share this really quickly to my other pages. Let's see. Uh, let's see. All right. I'm sorry. Give me 2 more seconds and I will be ready to go. Ugh, it switched me. Oh my Lord. All right. Oh my goodness. Hold on. Uh-huh. 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 Share now. Okay. All right. Today we have a fun topic. 80 minutes later. Sorry. I will get this together one of these years. I've been going live for, I don't know, 10 years. When did it first started? Just a quick story, but when it first came out on Facebook, I was live with another coach. I think she was doing like a testimony or something for me. But anyway, could only do it on your cell phones at that time, and she was upside down, and then she was sideways or something. And we laughed and laughed and laughed for like 10 minutes. We finally had to shut down the Facebook Live and go back on so we could both have the same format. But anyway, it is way less complicated now, and I make it look like it's complicated. It's not. Sorry. All right, I'm going to share my screen. We are going to rock and roll. Today is a really fun kind of topic that every single person needs in their world. Just regardless of what you're doing, my audience is mainly entrepreneurs and coaches. However, you need this regardless of who you are and what you do. So if you're on my personal profile and you're watching this, still applicable, because today we are talking about mindset. So unlock growth, the single most important mindset shift you need. And if anybody wants to put in their guesses, now's your moment. I am going to check it out, see where we're watching it from. I probably won't see your comments until after. I'll just be honest. Today I was all over the map because I was trying that new Restream thing. Anyway, don't listen. All right, so let's go. Unlock growth. So if you want to guess what the acronym is, now's your time. Guess it now. It's such an easy one this week that I'm not even going to give you any hints. But there's a surprise later on. So wait for that. Let's go. Power of the mind, growth mindset. And you'll see my little psycho picture there. That's because one of my favorite things to say to a grouchy person in the morning is, did somebody stab you while you were sleeping? Like, how is it that you wake up grouchy? And the message behind that is, you are the only person that can make you grouchy in the morning. It's whatever you feed your mind, whatever you feed your head. If you wake up grouchy, it's because you told yourself something to be grouchy about. Nobody stabbed you while you were sleeping. Hopefully you understood that point. So power of the mind is something that I love to say. I am just such a huge believer in power of the mind, and that we do control what we think, which controls our behaviors. And we can be in control of all of that. So let's go. What would you do for free? So the first one, if you're looking at the letters, it's motivation. So what would you do for free? And I put this picture here because I think we're talking about intrinsic motivation. What makes you want to get out of bed early? And if you're a coach like me, this probably is an easy one to answer. But I know for me personally, I am super curious. I love just finding out more about how businesses, I do marketing and business growth. So I literally will spend my spare time, researching or watching a webinar or something about learning more about it. I read a lot of books about, time management, goal setting, goal achievement, marketing, making yourself better, personal branding, all of that type of stuff. So what would you do for free? I would do all of that for free. It's so much fun to me. And then the other thing is, years ago, when I first got started online, I started back in 2007. And at that same time, I was living in Panama City, Panama, the country, didn't speak much English, Spanish. I always speak English, didn't speak much Spanish. So what I ended up doing was getting a job teaching English. And I fell in love with teaching, and I'm sure you can equate, but coaching. So what did I fall in love with? I fell in love with that aha moment when somebody's eyes light up and they're like, oh my God, I get it. Or, oh my God, I understand what you just said when it's English. So in business, it's a little bit more exciting because maybe if they get it, they're going to be moving forward in their business. Or, a couple of my clients this last quarter decided to do kind of a pivot. I love that. They were excited. They had started, using their voice, getting their content out there, and started realizing maybe what they were doing wasn't necessarily what they wanted to be doing, and created a pivot. Two of them actually a pretty 360 pivot, but that's okay. I think that the more we put ourselves out there, the more we start talking about it, the more we can figure out who we are and what we're all about and what we really want to talk to. So with that said, I would do all of that for free. It's fun to me. I love it. And they say when you really love what you do, you never work a day in your life. And I could work 15 hours a day, no problem, never even realize it. And for me, it's fun. I don't feel like it's a job. So what is it for you that you would do for free? What is that intrinsic motivation? Do you love those aha moments? Do you love, like hearing the, what is the sound that your phone makes, when you're, if you're like on Shopify and somebody's buying something, you know what I'm talking about. So what is it that wakes you up every morning? Is it waking up in the morning and looking at your numbers and realizing that you made money overnight? That's very exciting to everybody. Is it, knowing that you're going to be able to help your grandkids go to college, or help your current kids buy a house, or help you be able to, sit on a beach whenever you wanted to, even though you probably won't do that if you find what you love. But anyway, intrinsic motivation. What is it that you would do for free? So, Erica Leary quote, I realized that I don't do these very often in Elevate and Engage, and I want to bring it back. So if you're ever on my cocktails and collaboration, which I also haven't had one of those in a while, I'm scheduling one soon, but I do a lot of my own quotes. And the reason I do a lot of my own quotes is because I work with coaches. And one of the things that as coaches, we really need to know is we want to get our message out, but we also want people to know, like, and trust us. So I want you to know what my thoughts are, what I think about, what I believe in. And so by doing my own quotes, you will get to know me. Do I say never use somebody else's quotes? Absolutely. Use other people's quotes too, but throw your own in there as well. So true success grows from the desire to be our best. Motivation is the soil that feeds this growth. In my regular program, my methodology is growth. All right, let's move on. So here we go. Oh, I forgot the top part. This should be motivation still. All right, 1967, Kathrine Switzer. Who knows who that is? I'm going to give it a second. Who knows who this is? You can kind of tell by the picture. You can kind of tell by the picture. I love this picture. I think this is amazing. And just to give you a quick background story, but she was the first woman to finish the Boston Marathon with a registered number, which implies that there were women who have done it before this time, but she was the first one that did a registered number. What she did was she went in, she applied with her initials. Women were not allowed to go in. She applied with her initials. 1967. If you're my age, you realize that's not that long ago. I wasn't born yet, but it's still not that long ago. So she was the first woman. And what you see in this picture is the guy, not the guy with the number, but the guy that's behind her with the long pants. He's a referee. No, I can't think of the word, but one of the administrators of the race. He was literally trying to pull off her number. He got irate that she was in the race. And the other men who were in the race, they're pulling the guy off. They're like, let her run. So anyway, long story short, she was the first one to finish that marathon. So where does that motivation come from to do this? She wasn't doing it for the fight, if you read much about this, but she was doing it because she wanted to complete the Boston Marathon and she wanted to be able to do it registered and compete. So I love that story. I think it's pretty cool. If you look her up, she actually just did the marathon again 50 years later. I don't know how old she was. She had to be, she was like 20, so 70. Is that possible? I think she just did it 50 years later. And her time was almost the same. That's crazy. But she clearly probably runs because she loves running. And that she did say that sparked something in her to advocate for it. And I think it was, I don't know, it was the early 70s before women were allowed to go in. I did read it, but I forgot. All right. So M, motivation. I, inspiration. So see that little spark. What sparks your inspiration? If you know me and you know me well, I would imagine that your first guess is going to be either podcasts or books, which I do both a lot. And I talk about them a lot. All right. So that first picture, podcasting. What else can spark inspiration? Traveling, meeting new people, new cultures, right? The one right underneath that is networking. That's meeting new people, maybe possibly new cultures, but definitely new experiences, new ideas. When you meet people who aren't in your immediate circle, you're going to have creativity sparked. You're going to have inspiration. Books, my other favorite. I love to read. Meditation over there on the right, a little bit of So meditation. Down below that, skiing. So one of my clients just went skiing. That's where I thought of that one. She's actually hosting something at this very moment. I hope it is going amazing. Anyway, so skiing. So not just skiing, but hobbies. What do you do for fun? Do you run? Do you ski? Do you cook? Any type of hobbies, any type of interest that sparks innovation. I should have put showering. It's where I get a lot of my inspiration, but that kind of goes with meditation, right? That's that quiet time when your brain is totally quiet. Over to the left of the networking, the mic on stage. That's like TEDx. If you watch, that was my cue to myself for TEDx. If you watch TEDx's, if you watch documentaries, if you watch TV, I'll be honest with you. I get inspiration from, just reading articles on the web or watching my normal, cheesy TV shows. I love NCIS and, FBI, those types of things. But I saw one time on a blog post, somebody that I watch follows Vanderkamp. The woman, she's amazing if you want to talk about marketing. But I literally can get a ton of inspiration every time I watch that show. Number one, it's sort of about marketing. If you know what show I'm talking about, I can't even think of the real name, but the woman's name is Vanderkamp. And I think the name of the show also has that in there. Chat it down if you know the name of that show. And if you watch it, I can watch it in small doses. I can't binge it because it is a little bit not my style of show, but I do like it. It's a good show. The bottom left is journaling. So another one of my clients teaches people, God, I've said about 186,000 times. I'm going to stop. Teaches people journaling and how to journal and why to journal. It's so important. But one of the reasons is inspiration. If you're blocked, what's another one that we love? We love now. I didn't even think of it until just now. ChatGPT. Talking. You know, when you start brainstorming, when you start talking, you know, I was talking about my clients before, but getting your voice out there, the more you get your voice out there, that's going to inspire you to do more, to do other things. It gives you inspiration. So you can get it from a lot of different things. I just got inspiration. ChatGPT, right? That's a great place to brainstorm, even if it's, you know, by yourself. Have a conversation with your ChatGPT, see what he tells you or she. All right, this is a story. I should have put their names here. Shoot, I didn't. And zero possibility. I will remember their names. I'm sorry. But this isn't even the people. So if you do Google this story, this is not the people. This was my cue for piggybacking. So in marketing, one of the strategy in marketing is piggybacking. And what that means is you piggyback off of somebody else's idea. So on the right is Crocs. Crocs owns Crocs. This couple, not this one, but a couple, they have a couple of kids, and the husband was a serial entrepreneur. The wife was at home with the little girls. And I've read several different stories about how this happened. So depending on which one you read, but that's my favorite, my favorite one was they were out in the backyard, the mom, and I think it was two girls. They're out in the backyard and they're playing, and they're those little wild daisy looking, you know, those little itty bitty yellow flowers, daisy looking yellow flowers, whatever they're called. They're in the backyard. They see these, and the little girls start putting them in the holes in their Crocs. So they've got their entire shoes decorated. They go back in the house. Dad gets home, looks at their shoes and thinks, wow, now there's an idea. 6 months later, they sold that business to, and I don't think they ever even went into production. They sold that business to Crocs for like $10 million with a promise for 10 million more, depending on how much they sold. I don't even think they actually got the business going. It was an idea and they started doing it. They started creating like little clay ones or something that they put in their shoes. And so it was accessories, and they had a business that I cannot think of the name of. But anyway, inspiration. So the inspiration for that story was they were watching, you know, their daughters playing outside with, you know, what could be probably weeds, but pretty weeds. All right, Airbnb. I love this picture. It's probably advertising this king coil, but I put it in there to give you the Airbnb story. So the owners or the founders of Airbnb, there was like a conference in their area. I don't even know if they were part of the conference, but wherever they lived, there was a conference. They were low on money and decided that they would rent out a room or air mattresses for people going to the conference because the hotels were sold out. That was their inspiration for Airbnb. That's a super cool story. And I should have looked up, but worth a lot of money, right? Airbnb. All right, next one, new perspectives. So in case you're keeping track, MIN. Anybody know where this is going? Put your guesses in. All right, MIN. Hashtag replay if you're watching this replay. Also, hashtag replay. If you are watching on the replay later, put your guesses in. So new perspectives, new perspectives. This can come from inspiration, right? This can come from a lot of different things. What can give you new perspectives and why do you want them? Broadening your horizons. I don't know. I've always loved that phrase, broadening your horizons, and cross-disciplinary learning. So again, I love marketing. I think it's very cool. One of the cool things that I love to do in marketing and with my clients is to study a bunch of different industries. And the reason I like to do that is cross-disciplinary learning. I think that if this industry is using something, or if something is really catching in this industry may or may not know about it. But if they were using that, it could be pretty cool. And then they would be almost the innovators in their industry. So we're going to look at, hold on, hold please. Thinking outside of the box a little bit. I had a bunch of different stories for this one, but this is my favorite. So, you know, you hear me talk about Red Bull a lot and GoPro. This was a collaboration between the two. So Red Bull, what makes Red Bull a cool company to me is that Red Bull is one of those companies that they don't really talk about, you know, what makes their drinks great or what's in their drinks or how they taste or anything like that. No, they sponsor active events, like high intensity, and there's a word for this and I can't think of it, but they sponsor like high intensity events. That's how they get their name out. That's who their audience is. That's who their audience is. So the guy in the picture is on one of these, you know, extreme sports. That's what it is. Extreme sports. He's doing some sort of dirt bike race. And you can see the dirt flying up in the background. And around his neck is his GoPro. He's probably got one in his helmet as well, but his GoPro. So GoPro and Red Bull get together on these events and they promote them together. Two totally different brands, two totally different industries, not competing, not even really complementary until you think of this idea. And there are a lot of different ideas now where people are coming up with different things. I think there's the Oracle. I forget what that ring is called. I want to say Oracle, but I don't think that's the word. There's the ring that watches, you know, your health and your fitness. If you know, put it in the thing. There's the ring that watches your health and fitness. They have paired up with like Gucci to create like a Gucci one of those. And, you know, it's 10 times more. Or you've seen Swarovski do that, where they'll put like a Swarovski thing in something else that's totally, you know, a pair of shoes or whatever. Nike paired with Cole Haan to make some heels. So just different things that at first glance don't necessarily go together, but new perspectives, thinking outside the box, broadening your horizons. You know, you can do all of that through your inspiration, the people you meet, the places you go, just getting those thoughts going on. So another great way to really bring, you know, spark inspiration into your business. So new perspectives, thinking of looking at that. Okay. So if anybody knows this one, it kind of crashed and burned, but I thought I'd put it out there anyway. So they don't always work. But Yeezy, this was Kanye West paired with Adidas. The reason I put this one in here is a couple of reasons. One, I wanted to show you that they don't always work. Two, I'm all about personal branding and moving your business through your personal brand. This is a great example of how to kill your business with your personal brand. So Kanye thinks, I don't want to say what he thinks, but he did things that maybe he thought were acceptable because of who he was. I'm not really sure. I don't want to get into that, but everybody knows who Kanye West is and what he did. So Adidas broke ties with Kanye West after, you know, some things just went public and they didn't want to be associated with that brand any longer. And you've seen this time and time again where, you know, people bounce back from it if they have a strong enough personal brand, or they don't if they don't. So a lot of times you want to make sure that you are putting into that personal brand. Things happen, you know, mistakes, whatever. There might be things that might go wrong, but hopefully you don't crash and burn. You always want to be building up the right side of that. And if you ever read the book 7 Habits, Stephen Covey, that's one of the things that he talks about is putting the rocks in. That's personal branding. You want to make sure that you're doing all the positive in case there's ever one of those negatives. You've built up that brand big enough so that you don't really have to worry about, not worry about, you always want to worry about your reputation. Always worry about your reputation, but mistakes do happen. So this was not a mistake. This was, you know, we are who we are. All right. Moving on. Decisiveness. I feel like that's spelled wrong. Decisiveness. And you see that seesaw over on the left, right? Some people can never make up their mind. I am a very decisive person when it comes to serious matters. I'm very decisive. The one place that I am not decisive is in a restaurant. I want everything and I can never decide. I typically will either eat the exact same thing every time I go, if it's a restaurant I go to over and over and over, or I'll ask the waiter for 2 or 3 suggestions and I'll pick one of those. And then I can pick very quickly. But if I read a menu with 100 choices and I hear, you know, 10 other people saying 10 different things, I want it all. Buffets are not my friend because I will eat it all. Anyway, so you have to be decisive. You have to. In business, in life, and everything, you have to be decisive. And there are a couple of things that come with being decisive. And this was, remember, I told you there was another secret along the way. So tell me, if you've already guessed it, I want to hear, what do you think that this first word is? What do you think this first word is? I hope I did this next part correctly. But there's another acronym with this decisiveness part that's all about kind of the framework to be decisive. All right, decisiveness. Oh, we're not there yet. So if I didn't do it, I'll tell it off of here. But I put the lie in there because it takes a lot of courage to be decisive. A lot. You have to be willing to fail, fall, mess up, do it bad, you know, and then take responsibility for that and know that it's on you. If you're the one that made the decision, if you are the lead of a team, if you're the manager, the boss, the owner of a company, it does not matter who made that decision. It's still on you. It is still on you. And that takes courage. A lot of people don't want to own their own company because they don't want to be responsible for the decisions other people make or other people's livelihoods or whatever it is. It takes a lot of courage. So, all right, here is the steps to decisiveness. And I'm going to give it to you because I'm going to kind of go off a sheet, but the cheesy word is very long and it is clear path. So if you look at my little clear path, you get it. The clear path. And I'm going to, let me see. Yeah. Okay. No, I'm not going to be able to get back. So it'll take me longer to get back. I'll just stay on this page, but just know we're on decisiveness and we're talking about clear path. Let me go back. It's going to drive me crazy. Hold on. I did it so easily. Normally I mess the whole thing up. I have to stop share, blah, blah. All right, decisiveness, clear path. So I'm going to go through these steps one by one, just because I do want you to, am I going way too long? No. Oh my God, timing is great. We still have a couple left, but all right, decisiveness, clear path. So C is consider alternatives. Consider alternatives. That is really, really, really important, right? You want to know, are there any other things and what are they? You want to be aware of what's out there. Do your little list. My mom used to always do that. Take a sheet of paper and do the pros and the cons. What are those pros and cons? Figure them out. You want to know. Leverage insights. That's CL. Leverage insights. Where can you get knowledge from? If you are the president of the United States, you have a panel of people. You have all of these people that should be giving you good information. If you own a company, even if you're a one-man show, have you ever read Think and Grow Rich? Napoleon Hill, if you haven't read it, read it. Napoleon Hill, one of the things that he talks about in this book is that you should always have your round table. You should always have your round table, the people that you go to. And in a round table, according to Napoleon Hill, it does not have to be a physical person that you go and talk to. It can be, what would, religious people say, what would Jesus do? Somebody else might say, what would Napoleon Hill do? I've lost my mom. I might say, what would my mom do? So what would my dad do? Those two would be totally different things. Together, they always came out with the same decision, but two totally different people with two totally different minds. So have your board or have your, physical, maybe you have a board of people that you can go to, but leverage insights from other people, from data. If you're doing social media, leverage your analytics. What kind of data can you get from there? So past experiences, anything, expert opinions, whatever you can use, leverage insights. So CL, leverage insights. E, evaluate outcomes. Sometimes we don't want to do this, especially if the outcomes weren't what we wanted them to be, but you still need to evaluate the outcomes. Anticipate the consequences of each option before you do it. We're going to do the after later, right? But at this stage in your steps, you want to evaluate what those outcomes might be, what they might look like or should, or hopefully will look like. So evaluate the potential consequences of each option, considering immediate and long-term. So right now that sounds like a great idea, but if we do that over and over and over in 10 years, it's not going to be such a great idea. So evaluate what that would look like. A, CLEA is assess risks. Assess risks. I have a digital marketing agency with another peer of mine. His name is Dan Walkwitz. And one of the things he talks about a lot with companies is assessing the risks. And this is something that you need to be aware of. If you don't know how to do it, start thinking about it. But you want to always identify, analyze what are the risks involved in doing this. And that goes, pretty well with evaluate the outcomes. But what are the risks? What might happen positively, and then what might happen negatively? All right, R, CLEAR, reflect on values. Reflect on values. You want to ensure that it's all about you and your I don't mean it's all about you, but you want to ensure that your values are instilled in everything that you do. You don't want to do things just because it's going to make you more money or your business will grow and then you won't be able to sleep at night. So there's a lot of corruption in politics. And one of the things that I always like to say is I would rather be poor and get a good night's sleep than be filthy rich, and filthy being the operative word, and always looking over my shoulder and not being able to sleep at night. I think that would be a terrible, terrible way to live. So that might go with assess risks. That might go with reflect on values. Is this something that shows who you are and what you're all about? So make clear choices when it comes to that. Your core values, your principles, integrity of your choices. And integrity of your choices also might be, admitting, hey, I did make that choice and it was a bad one. It was a bad one. So sorry. And what we're going to do about it. So prioritize objectives. If you are going to make a decision, make sure you know what the objectives are and which ones are the most important ones, and never, ever, ever lose sight of that. You have to have them written down. If you have people working with you on it, they need to know those objectives. They need to be on board. Everybody needs to be on the same page. So prioritize those objectives and make sure everybody else has the same priorities in those objectives, so it's effective in what you do. A, act decisively. Kind of a no-brainer for for this particular one, being the path to decisiveness, but you have to act decisively. Once you've got all of those other things underneath you, you have to just do it. Pull the plug, act decisively. And then the next one is trust the process. Have faith in your decision-making process. If you go through all of these steps to come to the A, which is act decisively, you need to trust the process. Understand that this is an informed choice. So maybe it's a quick decision, but you've literally gone through every single one of those steps before making that very quick decision. And decisiveness does not necessarily mean quick decision. It can mean it took you a long time to come to this decision. And then once you made the decision, it's decisive, if that made any sense. It means don't waver. Don't waver. Once you make the decision, you go through with it. That's it. So trust the process. And then the last one, H, is heed lessons. Heed lessons. So you want to go back. You want to reflect. You want to figure out, was it a great decision? If so, why? And how can I replicate that decision? Or which part of that process was really did I really do great? And maybe which ones do I need to reconsider? It was an amazing decision, but I really could have amped it up a little bit here. If it was not the best decision of your life, you still want to reflect. How could you go through those steps again better in the future? Did you skip any? Did you skimp on any? Whatever. Did you get to the A and then weeble wobble and change? That's what happens to a lot of people. You know, I've talked about this a lot, but I have a small language school in Panama. And one of the things we do is test prep for SAT. SAT is the entrance exam to colleges in the United States. TOEFL is a language learner test to say that you speak proficiently in a language. So one of the things that we teach people is act decisively, go through all of the things that you know, and then make a decision, stick to it, and move on. One of the biggest problems people do is they go against their intuition, against their gut, and then they make a different decision. And I had intuition in here, and then I don't know what happened. Somehow it got wiped away, but I would say, oh, it was in the L. I changed it to leverage insights, but listen to your intuition. That's really a good one. And if you want to double that L, listen to your, don't write CLL, but double meaning for the one L. Listen to your intuition, because a lot of times that first gut reaction could be it. And if you get through the whole process and come up with a different answer, then maybe you want to go back and revisit that gut reaction and find out, was it nerves or was there a reason? So, all right, strategy. Here we are. So MINDS. If you don't know it by now, you got some issues. MINDS, a strategy. Let's go. So a lot of times we can come up with different strategies to make things happen in our business. I'm going to go draw a blank now on what these are. So Bloom and Wild, I remember, but I really wanted to tell the Shell one. Let me tell the Bloom and Wild one, and if I can remember the Shell one, I will. So Bloom and Wild is like an international, they wanted, back in the day, they're a flower company. They were not international. They wanted to be international. And one of the things that they were known for was sending their flowers in a box or a basket. So when they went international, they wanted to find out if that was really going to work. And they realized that they didn't really have box type things there wherever they were going. So they did studies and research and asked people, and they came up with the idea to, I think, put ribbons around what they did. And it took off immediately. So they did something out of the box. They did something literally out of the box. They did something different, and it really took off because they had a strategy before they went in and just willy-nilly'd it all over an international market. What was Shell's strategy? It's going to kill me. I don't remember Papa John's either. All right, moving on. Anyway, I have a strategy. I'll do Domino's, even though it's not on this page, but it's coming to mind for whatever reason. Domino's strategy, one of their strategies originally was they did, the 30 minutes or less. They eventually had to take that down. I'm thinking of everybody's strategies, but the ones that are right in front of me. Domino's did 30 minutes or less. And that strategy was a good strategy because their target market at that moment was college kids. And college kids at night, after being out all night or when studying, they wanted their food right now. So taste wasn't, maybe the top of the thing for Domino's. It was speed of delivery, convenience, getting it right away, getting it fast. Those were the big pushers for Domino's Pizza. And price. It was priced less than everybody else. They always have amazing specials or whatever. It's gonna kill me with the shell. I'm gonna do a reel or a live or something with the shell and Papa John's. All right, strategy. We have 2 left in case you want to guess your word. Put it down there. All right, empowerment. And the picture is some women feeling super empowered. And why is this in mindset? So you need to think of your mission and your vision and empower other people to be on board with that mission and vision. If it's your mission and vision and not our mission and vision, it'll never work if you have more people than you. Sorry, that's a mistake up at the top. I shouldn't say. Those were all not from this world. The empowerment, let me just talk about that because none of those slides were for this. The empowerment part is you need to empower other people to be able to do their thing as well. Empower yourself first, but empower other people. And one of the examples that I can think of for this is probably industry-wise the best example of a lot of things, but Disney. So Disney empowers its people to make decisions based on their philosophy and their beliefs. So one of Disney's greatest beliefs is experience, to make every single person's experience the best experience ever. And so whether you are the gardener or the manager, you are empowered with the ability to make a decision. If somebody is completely lost and needs help, you are empowered to stop your gardening and help that person get to where they need to go. I love that. My very first job out of college was the Home Depot, still bleed orange to this day. My brother worked there. My dad worked there. I worked in corporate. My dad actually worked in the store. My brother worked in corporate as well. My dad started working in the store when he was like 60 or 61, something like that. He loved it. Anyway, the biggest philosophy I learned and still love to this day is the customer's always right. That was Bernie Marcus's heart and soul of the Home Depot. And he wanted that to be part of the experience of going to Home Depot. People took advantage of it over the years. I saw some crazy things happening after hurricanes. People would they would return wood with nails in it, and the Home Depot would take it back. So I'm not positive how much they still do that today. But back in the day, they still stood by that. And why did they stand by it? Because they wanted people to know that they were behind them. And I guess that was kind of like, these people must need it more than we do if you have the nerve to return wood with nails in it after a hurricane. So they did not encourage that behavior. They did not advertise that. That wasn't what they meant, but they still would help the customer because customers are always right. So they empowered people to be able to make those decisions. If you were the customer rep, when somebody came, you didn't have to turn on the buzzer, call in 5 different people to be able to make that decision. And the people could feel that, and they felt loved, and they returned, and lifetime value of a customer. Bleed orange. There are a lot of people who bleed orange that never worked at Home Depot, and they bleed orange because they were treated like that at some point. So, all right, the last one is T. So if you didn't get it yet, mindset, transformation. And you see my little picture for transformation. Let's see if I did these. Okay. So transformation, changes ahead. We're always transforming who we are. And I'd like to say the whole world, but I'm not talking to the whole world. I'm talking to coaches and I'm talking to entrepreneurs. And if you look outside of coaches and entrepreneurs, it's sadly not the whole world, but you are. You are always striving to get 1% better. You're always looking at what habits can you add? What habits can you delete? What changes do you need to make? I know right now, one of my biggest focuses is getting a hold of my time management and really, making a schedule and sticking to it. That's, one of my biggest goals right now. And so we're always trying to get better in what we're doing. And mindset is the thing that overrides everything else. And so the whole idea of today was, what is that one thing? So unlock growth, the single most important mindset shift you need. And it is to realize that you need growth at all times, right? You need to have that growth. You need to be growing. And that is the single one thing that will make the biggest difference in the growth of your business, your life, and everything else. And it all starts with mindset. So I never read. I know I never do, but I do want to read this. I wrote this and I want to read it word for word because I'm not a memorizer. So growth mindset. This is Erica's definition of growth mindset. A growth mindset is the empowering belief that our abilities and intelligence are not fixed traits, but can be developed and expanded through dedication, perseverance, and a passion for learning. And if you know me, you've probably heard you've probably heard me throw some of these words around before, and definitely that meaning. Definitely that meaning. You've got this is one of my phrases. Anybody can do this. It takes a little bit of dedication. Perseverance, persistence is another word that I love. Probably one of my favorite words. All right. It embraces challenges as opportunities for growth, values effort as the pathway to mastery, and sees setbacks not as evidence of an unintelligence, but as essential stepping stones for innovation and problem solving. Again, definition of an entrepreneur, right? We have to, eat challenges for lunch, as they say, right? Opportunities for growth. I've said this before and I love this, but what is her name? The woman who owns Spanx. I read a long time ago that her dad used to sit them down at the dinner table when they were kids and say, what did you fail at today? What did you fail at today? That's the second paragraph. You have to try. You have to put yourself out there. You have to look like a fool the first 5 minutes of every time you go live. Until you figure it out better. You have to do these things. Why? Because if you're not trying, you're not growing. For starters, you're not advancing. People don't get to share that growth with you. They don't get to see how you are improving or the value of the effort that you're putting in, right? They want to see those setbacks. You need to have them to be able to move to the next step. So It helps. All right, last one. This mindset fosters a culture of continuous improvement, encouraging individuals to step beyond their comfort zones, engage in lifelong learning, and contribute to a collaborative environment where possibilities are limitless and growth is infinite. This is one of my favorite things. Again, if you know me, lifelong learning is one of the big things. You can hear it in everything that I say. I'm an avid reader, avid podcast listener. I will watch seminars, webinars, whatever. I'm always learning. I want to hear your opinion. I love to hear other people's opinions and to hear, other people's takes on something, even if it's against what I'm doing. That's okay. I'm open to that. I always tell people if I'm doing something and you have an idea that would make it better or why it's not a great idea, let me know. I might not change. Again, Miss Decisive, I may not change, but I'm open to hearing that. And if I go through my whole decisiveness steps and decide it is going to work, I'll change. No problem. And I will stand up for that change. I have no problem taking accountability for decisions I've made, whether they are good or bad. And it's one of the things that I love about being an entrepreneur. If I fail, it's my failure. I love that. I don't want to fail because somebody else told me to do something that I didn't agree with. And I had to do it because I was working, blah, 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 down that rabbit hole. I don't like that. So anyway, another thing I want to point out, a collaborative environment. So leverage is a favorite word of mine, and collaboration is within one of my 6 points of leverage. Collaboration is in there. Why? Because we can go further faster when we don't do it alone. So I just said I didn't want to work for a company and have them tell me the things to do, but I do love working with other people and other coaches and doing other things and projects and businesses, whatever it is. I think that that's how we go further faster. Don't get distracted, but yes, collaboration is amazing. All right, so that is the growth mindset. And I think it is the one key to really growing your business. You have to be testing, changing, trying, whatever you want to say. You have to be opening yourself up for failure and opportunities and all of the great things in life. All right, a growth mindset, an Erica Leary quote, a growth mindset champions the belief that through effort and resilience, our abilities can evolve, turning challenges into catalysts for learning and growth. So I believe that the secret to happiness is this. The secret to happiness is having a goal, not necessarily achieving that goal, but going for it. I think that is amazing. Enjoy the ride, enjoy the journey. You get it? All right. Oh, I'd love to say this is next week, but it's not. This will be the week after next. Overcoming obstacles, 4 steps to triumph in personal and professional growth. And no, we are not taking next week off. What's happening next week? Woo, woo, woo. Elevate your presence in 5 days. If you are not registered, I want you to register. It is contentfusionchallenge.com. I believe it's the URL. I'll drop it below here. Contentfusionchallenge.com. Register for this 5-day challenge. And you're like, February 22nd? Isn't that next Thursday? It is. I wanted to start it on a Thursday so we could do it instead of Elevate and Engage. Same time, same place. And it'll be at 11 o'clock. I know the last time I did it at 10. So it'll be at 11 o'clock Eastern. Same time, same place. And it will be Thursday, Friday, not Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And you're like, won't people forget? No, they won't. I will be reminding you. You will be in my world. We will be doing some things over the weekend together. So you will not forget. But it will be Thursday and Friday. And Thursday at night, we have VIPs. I'll talk about that later. But Wednesday night, the night right before it, we are going to have cocktails and collaboration. And it is a collaborative event. It's super fun. I love doing it. I haven't even put it out there yet. So if you're like, I'm not registered, don't worry about it. I will be putting it out there after this. So Cocktails and Collaboration next Wednesday, the 21st in the evening. I like to do those in the evening. So, well, before an event. Should we do it? Okay. I'm not going to tell you what time. I'm going to look at my calendar. So I wonder if I should do it in the evening or day. If you have an opinion on that, chat it down below. So if I did it in the evening, it would be like 5 or 6 Eastern. If I did it in the morning, it would be 11. Chat me your opinion on that. If I did it in the evening, it would definitely be 5 p.m. Eastern. All right. Chat me your opinion, but Cocktails and Collaboration, so fun. If you've never been to one, make sure you're there. And we will talk about the Content Fusion. Elevate your online presence. Let's do this. All right, I'm going to stop sharing. If you are not on Zoom yet and want to hop on, now is your chance to hop on Zoom. I'm logging off.